Local author and chief of the Hatsuth First Nation, Bev Sellars recently traced the impact of a residential school experience in a discussion of her book, They Called Me Number One.
The title of my book, They Called Me Number One, is number one is the number that I received when I went to the residential school. When I got there, all of our, well, everybody else too, all our belongings were taken from us, everything. And even our name, and we were given a number. So I became number one on the girls' side in all the time that I was there. So I grew up in the interior of what is now known as British Columbia. I lived very happily on an Indian reserve until I was 5 years old. However, because of racist Canadian laws, the following 7 years found me spending only 11 months in my home community. The rest of the time I was away being programmed to be something I was not. Instead of allowing me to be a Secwepemc child with my own culture, my own language, and my own traditions, I was being programmed to be a poor copy of a culture that had its origins across the ocean. Before I wrote the book, I couldn't talk about it without breaking down. I would just start crying, and in the book I say that writing the book, I cried enough tears to fill a swimming pool, but it was also very therapeutic. And sometimes it is still a little difficult for me to talk about it, but it's getting easier. And I don't think it'll ever go away, but at least I can talk about it in a more productive way without all the anger and the pain that comes with it. So my book is about 3 generations who attended St. Joseph's Mission. My grandmother, who was born in 1896, spent 9 years at St. Joseph's Mission and then saw her children and grandchildren follow suit. My mom, born in 1925, attended the residential school for 10 years, beginning in 1931 at the age of 6, and me attending for 5 years, beginning in 1962 at the age of 7. I like to see people understanding the journey that Aboriginal people have been on. That's one of the reasons that I made the book public, is that people are too quick to condemn Aboriginal people. You know, like we don't have the social problems because we're Aboriginal people. We have social problems, and there's a bit of chaos in our communities because of all of the stuff that we've been through. And so the book helps to explain that a bit. I was 17 years old, desperate and tired of trying to fit in. All I could think of was to die. I was so young, yet I felt so worthless. That night, years of abuse and put-downs finally caught up with me. I want people to know that this history has to be taught in the schools. It is starting to be used a little bit in universities and a few high schools, but it's a part of Canadian history that can no longer be just pushed aside or ignored. It has to be acknowledged. So many charges of sexual abuse came out of the schools. 4 principals in a row at St. Joseph's Mission. 3 who went on to become bishops should have been charged. Unfortunately, only 1 principal was charged, Bishop Hubert O'Connor. And if the top man was doing it, it was easy for others to do so as well. I tell people, you know, listen to what Aboriginal people want. We want control of our lives. Again, everybody else has control of their lives. We're the only ones that are under the Indian Act, and the government, you know, totally controls our lives. And you know, people say, well, do away with the Indian Act, but we have special rights in this country, and we help the newcomers adjust to this land. And then once we were no longer needed, all of these racist policies were put on us and kept us, you know, created chaos in our communities and kept us out of the economy. So that has to change. We have to be put in control of our lives again, and we are the only ones that know what is best for us, and it's time that people got out of our way and just allowed us to be who we are, instead of making decisions for us that don't work.